Okay, and welcome back to the second portion of this informational videos here. We'll start up where we left off with how we secure a user account. So there are a vast variety of options and methods for securing user accounts. Some of the most common that you'll see are things like endpoint detect protection services or EPS, or endpoint detection services, EDS. A lot of these being brands like Microsoft Defender, Symantec, Sophos, including firewalls, Sentinel-1, Sophos Intercept, Trellix. Main difference between these being whether you're detecting suspicious activity and more of a monitoring type of service, or whether you're actively working to prevent an unwanted intrusion. You'll have lots of options for antivirus applications, packet map monitoring software like Wireshark and Nmap, configuring your user accounts to require complex passwords or stuff like multi-factor authentication. You can set time or even location-based restrictions for users. Group policy helps control the user work environment. UAC, or user access control, is a notification and rights validation system where a user must verify their credentials before performing any kind of an admin task. Local user security and policy decides how we manage user identity and access. Things like first-time logins for a user, rights to change passwords, effects of entering a wrong password, account lockout time for wrong entries, how many attempts are allowed for logins, how many expired passwords the system will remember for users to have to create different login credentials over time, default password policies for clients, servers in a work group or domain environment. Kind of can change the default policies for all those types of things. Password policy length, history, age, that can all be adjusted. You have the option of disabling control panels, desktops, run options, system clock hiding, as well as a lot of other options. Moving on to what is the difference between role-based access control and rights and permissions. So with role-based access, it's essentially as it sounds. Users have access to resources or data based on their role within a company or organization, such as someone in, say, like a specific department, like HR, marketing, accounting. Access is going to be linked to what those jobs roles perform. So essentially employing the practice of least privilege, they have access to only what they need to be able to perform their job functions, nothing more, nothing less. It just helps to simplify access management and enhance security. Now, with rights and permissions, they somewhat overlap into these concepts. Rights are like the low-level settings that a basic user has by default, such as like the ability to change a desktop wallpaper, create a folder, or even securing some of their own data. Administrator rights go about a step above user rights to where they can actually create user accounts, share resources in network, or create policies to control the user environment. And they even have the ability to assign limited admin rights to other users to have some of the same admin capabilities, such as like creating accounts, resetting passwords, sharing resources. Permissions are the settings that we assign on resources, and they're managed from either the creator or the administrator. And these are the concepts of whether you have the permission to simply read a file, if you can read and write only, or say if you have full control over the resource or file. More simply stated, rights apply to profiles, so users can have more power to perform operations, and permissions apply to resources that users can access and use based on the permissions applied by the admin or creator. When it comes to the management of user rights and permissions, that will vary dependent on the specific setup of your network. So in a workgroup environment, you'll set rights on individual devices using the local users and groups console. In a domain environment, you'll use Active Directory users and computers to set rights. And say like a cloud directory environment, like with Microsoft Azure, you'd use the Microsoft Entra Admin Center to perform these tasks. Or like with Microsoft 365, you'd use the 365 Admin Center to set rights. Management of the permissions is done from the ACL, or Access Control List, which is basically a list of entries that controls who can access a resource and what actions they can perform. Most common resources you'll share in a network are like file server, which is a centralized server for sharing file folders on our network. SharePoint, which is like a cloud-based resources sharing platform for Microsoft. Then you have NAS or SAN, NAS being a network attached storage, which is connected with the help of our IP. And SAN is the storage area network, which assigns storage to any computer in the network with the help of ISCSI, which is a storage management tool. There is plenty information on these concepts and very detailed, granular options you can dive into. But I'm going to go ahead and just end it here as we've covered a good variety of the information. I thank you for your time, and I do urge you to go ahead and explore some of these concepts in more depth just to get a more thorough understanding of the kind of power or control you have to really create and maintain a secure network with the plethora of options that Microsoft, for example, offers you. Thanks again.